Do you have any sort of tips for anyone in terms of putting together a case for how to get a bit more resource within your team?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and you are totally right. Before, probably we were just team of two for a very, very long time, and just recently, as a business grown, our team grow as well as there was appetite for it. So probably my advice would be for like to push for additional resources for organizations, really is to focus on demonstrating the value and how necessary is the investment. So really by showing and outlining the current situation, the risks, and ultimately consequences, what it could be if we fail, let's say, to comply with those risks or what, address those risks. And because of the reason of the under-resourcing, which is highlighting that to the business, how important it is to have more people to do what they need to do.
Is there a little bit of putting the fear up people that, if these things don't go right, that these are the consequences? Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I mean, the consequences will affect business not just financially, but also reputational damage, which is really, really hard to recover for any company.
Definitely. James, maybe similar question to you. Have you got any tips for um, people?
Yeah, like Agita, when I joined Blacks, there were only two of us, and that was 4 years ago now. And so we've grown the team quite significantly in that period. Um, Now, I think the first point I would say is you've got to tell the story and tell the business your why. Why is it that we need to expand the team? What are the consequences of not expanding the team? Um, I think it's always helpful if you get audited, because, or if you get any investigations, because that always brings everyone's minds to focus, because then they're wondering, well, what's happening here? What we're going to do about it? How we're going to resolve it? We don't want it to happen again. So I think that's always really helpful. Um, Luckily at Blacks, we're well supported. I don't have to, I'm not fighting against the exec to get more resource. Um, they understand. I think the other point is really compliance is not just a risk and compliance thing. As much as people think, oh, risk and compliance deal with risk and compliance, it's a whole business responsibility, and therefore, you got to make sure it's pervasive throughout your whole business, and that will help you get buy-in.
Um, I think the first time I've ever heard anyone say that maybe an auditing was good for that reason. Dad, how about yourself? You've got quite a large team there. Have you, in terms of trying to get the case for maybe more resource or how you've grown that team? Any tips?
No, it's pretty much the same as sort of Agita and James have mentioned. I think one other thing that I would probably add for us is that, we try and link it to sort of how it's going to help meet the firm's strategy, how it's going to help us to sort of drive forward and make things better for our agents who are on the front line and making things sort of quicker. We know that compliance isn't favorably looked on as a quick and easy process, and so it's sort of helping to drive that narrative and definitely helps get them on board with letting us have more people.
Yeah. Okay.